Okay, so as I'm sure you're all aware, Boruto Chapter 70 was recently released, and things are starting to speed up a little bit faster than anticipated, so I'm not going to review the entire chapter, but there are some things that I do want to cover that are relevant to the new Otsutsuki. Now, first of all, Ida considers Shikamaru's offer, but doesn't actually accept it as of now, and Code officially kidnapped Amato and left Konoha because he was scared of Kawaki, and it took virtually no convincing to get Amato to remove Code's limiters. He was just begging. All that he asked for was to be spared, which just kind of goes to show how much of a pussy Amato is. Now, this brings a lot of necessary implications with it. First of all, since Boruto and Kawaki seem to be significantly more powerful than Code during their first encounter, the only way to make Code an actual threat now is to make him more powerful, which is exactly what they did. With his limiters removed, he is now officially stronger than Jigen, and he's basically the new Otsutsuki. And now, before you guys bring all your pitchforks out, the reason why I state this is not only based on his current strength, but also, his change of appearance as well, in which his hair literally becomes white as pointed out by Daemon, which is very characteristic of an Otsutsuki, and this is very fitting as he has a white or essentially empty karma, the power of an Otsutsuki, and part of the physical appearance as well, which was likely done on purpose. Now, this is an important detail as the manga in this variation of Code is not yet colored, but the authors definitely wanted us to know of the change in color. It's an emphasis to the connection to the Otsutsuki clan, as well as, again, his white karma and the fact that he wants to continue Ishiki's will. Now, I also wanted to take a second to talk about how strong he is compared to the characters now, as he's probably literally stronger than everyone else in the franchise at this moment. We know from previous statements that Code without his limiters is stronger than Jigen, and he had his limiters in place to not undermine Jigen's power and leadership, but we're not quite sure if he's stronger than Ishiki himself, as implied that Ishiki in his full body is stronger than Jigen. Either way, pre-nerf Naruto and Sasuke didn't really stand a chance, so post-nerf Naruto and Sasuke shouldn't either, especially against a more powerful opponent. The only options that we have here are the Karma brothers, who would still likely be inferior as well, but obviously not as much as Naruto and Sasuke. I talked a little bit about this in my previous video, but essentially, it is unlikely that Borushiki is as strong as full Momoshiki, as it's basically just Momoshiki taking control of an incomplete Otsutsuki body. We also know that Momoshiki is weaker than Jigen, so Borushiki should be significantly inferior to Code now. The main hope here, I guess, would be Kawaki, as it seems like he has some of Ishiki's power and abilities with his new weaponized karma. Now, I've heard some people state that he doesn't have Ishiki's power, but I think I disagree, as Kawashiki seems to be superior to Borushiki, but I do admit there is an argument to be made to state that they were pretty relative, and if that's the case, they'd both just be inferior to Code. Now, if Naruto, Sasuke, Boruto, and Kawaki were to all fight Code right now, I think that they'd probably lose pretty miserably, but I don't know. Let me know what you guys think down below. I guess we'll have to see how the story unfolds, because there still are some unanswered questions that may become relevant during their next exchange. For example, we haven't had any explaining of, Amato's secret plan in which everybody and their mom suspect him of having. Like, seriously, this guy is so smart that he was able to create multiple cyborg and Otsutsuki Plus level foes, and I wouldn't be surprised if he anticipated the whole fact that Code would kidnap him and force him to remove his limiters ahead of time, and I wouldn't be surprised if that somehow fell into his own plan. There are so many directions that they could take this, but it's pretty early to tell. One example that I've heard floating around before would be something along the lines of he is the missing Otsutsuki and he would use Kawaki's karma to take over his body. That's why he wanted him to get up karma at some point. Again, that's not really a prediction, but a possibility, so I guess we'll have to see how things move forward. Also, we still have no mention of the Jogan yet, which, although is technically not relevant now, has been given some miscellaneous abilities in the anime, and I covered that a while ago. In short, I do think that they are planning something bigger with this later on, and now that Boruto is technically a full Otsutsuki now, this may become further expanded upon and get its official debut. We also have the sole fact of the missing Otsutsuki tablet itself. Now, we can't really go into too much detail, but I think it's pretty unlikely that that missing Otsutsuki, or the missing two, would be Urashiki, because he wasn't even that relevant in the anime and has never been mentioned in the manga, and it wouldn't really make sense for his tablet to be destroyed, because he's still in good standing with the other Otsutsukis, I mean, more or less. Also, the fact that the Otsutskis travel in pairs is pretty odd, and I think that those two will probably become relevant after the time skip, when Code is no longer presumably the main threat. So overall, I think that Kawaki and Boruto are gonna kind of take the show when facing Code. They're gonna show their new and improved karmas, and perhaps get some new abilities as well, which will again be expanded upon. I mean, we already saw a teaser with Kawaki using some of Ishiki's abilities from Ishiki's karma. Anyways, I'm very curious to see where the story goes, because they seem to be speeding through the plot. I do also plan on making another video, which is going to be kind of a follow-up to this one, explaining what I think is going to happen leading up to the time skip and what I think is going to happen after the time skip. But anyways, if you guys like more content like this, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to cure my depression, and I'll catch you next time.